child development initiatives at ESAF. Since 2007, Sir served as the Director Program for ESAF. Sir is an avid learner, reader, and influencer. Sir has done his BSc from Kerala University, BD from Shriram, and Doctor of Ministry from SAIX, Bangalore. Sir is blessed with 3 children, Ashish, Abhishek, and Arpita, and wife, Lali. So this is all what I have known about Sir, and now over to Pastor.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Yeah, so we'll be having the presentation first by Brother Jacob Samuel. After that, we will have Q&A, and so kindly hold on with your questions. You could post it in the chat if you want, but we'll have a Q&A after the presentation. So a warm welcome now to Brother Jacob Samuel. Welcome, sir. We are so glad you're here. Yeah, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Abhijit. So I was wondering who I am. Hearing all the things that Biju and Rajiv said. Anyway, thank you very much for the kind words. Let us trust in the Lord that He will speak to us, motivate us, and give us some new thoughts so that He will fulfill the mission that God has for each one of us. Okay, so let me straight away go into the presentation. I'll share my screen. You can see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. So the journey of ESAF, we can name it as a venture of faith. I will tell you why it can be called a venture of faith as I move on. Before we get into the story of ESAF, I would like to just take you to have a look at our own motherland, India, or motherland. Now, many times we see, especially those who are live in the cities, they see only the bright side of things, the shining India. But actually, the reality is much different. Now, some of the statistics that we have. Now, this quotations and statistics was taken a few years before, but still the main thrust remains the same. It is said that 80% of India does not have access to public health facilities, and 47% of Indian children under the age of 5 years are undernourished. 71% of children in 15 to 19 age group have not completed a secondary education, and it is said that education is a fundamental right of an Indian. 57% of India does not have access to electricity. 70% of India does not have an access to a suitable toilet. 49% of India does not have proper shelter. 38% of India does not have access to a nearby water source. It is said that 400 million people in India live below the internationally agreed poverty line, that is $1 per day. Now it is, I think, $2 per day. Even then, the majority lives below the poverty line. So this is the country in which we live. So we need to ask ourselves, as Christians, as members of the church, as disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ, if God has placed us in this kind of a country with umpteen needs around us, in all parameters, God has placed us in this country. And what is our responsibility as Christians? What is our responsibility as the church in India? I think we need to ask that hard question. And it was questions like this that led the founders of ESAF to launch in faith to start an organization. Let me quote John Stott, one of my favorite authors. It is impossible to share the gospel with people in a social vacuum, isolating them from their actual context and ignoring their suffering. Now, all of us believers are convinced about the need to share the gospel, need to bear witness to the gospel of Christ. But we need to remember that people are not just souls, they are total human beings with body, mind, and a spirit. So we cannot communicate to them, we cannot talk to them, we cannot relate with them, isolating them from their actual context. What is the context? The context of hunger, the context of lack of electricity, lack of education, lack of privileges, lack of opportunities. That is the context. So people who are living in that context, we are asked to share the gospel. So can we just say that God loves you and Jesus died for you and you believe on him and you will go to heaven, forgetting all the circumstances, the context in which they live? I think Jesus' model was different. He definitely saw people as they are. He saw them in their sicknesses. He saw them in their pain of separation, in their hunger, in their loneliness, and he addressed those needs. Definitely, he was concerned about their being related to God the Father, but he did not isolate them from their particular context. So this is something very, very important that we should bear in mind as Christians. Now, as it was introduced, I was groomed in my Christian life through the UESI. Probably some of you may be associated with EU or EGF. So they may know that the third aim of UESI is to present the historic Christian faith and to raise a testimony to the historic Christian faith and to present their message for the whole of life and problems of mankind. So this aim implies that there is a connection between Christian faith and the problems of mankind. But how are they related? How are we supposed to link or connect the Christian faith which we enjoy, which we say we hold on to the problems that we see around us? All the problems which I shared earlier, the condition of India, the context of India, the condition in which multitudes of people in India live. So how can we relate to that? We believe in God the Father. We believe the God the Father is a loving God, a compassionate God, a just God. When we see injustice and denial of opportunities for people around us, now we need to say, what may be God thinking about this kind of a condition? How can I relate my understanding of the nature of God, the character of God, to the problems that I see around? So even as an EGF member, as an EU student, I used to wonder how this Christian faith can be related, can be connected to the solution of the problems of mankind. Okay, let's move on. In the early 90s, a group of a few members of Kerala EGF, Evangelical Graduates Fellowship, we began to think seriously about a Christian response to the social problems of the day. These discussions and study of the Bible led to the formation of Evangelical Social Action Forum in 1992. So our founder, Mr. K. Paul Thomas, it was he who actually took the step of faith, and actually a few of us joined with him. Actually, when he attended a missionary conference, a missions conference conducted by UESI Kerala in the early 80s. While he attended one of the elective seminars, that elective seminar was regarding the Christian involvement in society, or Christian response to the social problems. So there, God really convinced him that God has called him for a ministry to cater to the physical and mental needs of people. So while the main thrust of the conference was regarding going out into North India, going out into the field as missionaries and voluntary missionaries, full-time missionaries, or tent-making missionaries. But this aspect of social involvement was also came through very strongly in that missions conference. So Brother Paul Thomas got that vision, and he shared this vision with some of us, and we began to pray. But we knew that as young graduates, without much of direction, without much of experience in social work, we didn't know what to do. But God in his mercy led us to people who could guide us. People like C.B. Samuel and Rajan Samuel who were working in EFICOR at that time. And we could get a very close contact with EFICOR. And their guidance was very, very helpful in the formative period of ESAF. So this, the picture that you see here is the picture of a house. It is called, the name of the house is Little. Actually, this is the house in which Brother Paul Thomas lived when ESAF was formed. So even though we registered as an organization, we registered as a charitable society in 1992, we did not have anything. We did not have an office. We did not have any staff. We did not have any finance. So actually, Brother Paul Thomas said, okay, we can use one of the rooms in my house to be the office. So thus a small room in this house became the first office of ESAF. So we had just a table and a chair. That was our assets. But a greater asset was there. That was trust in a mighty God. So if the reason why I can call ESAF, the journey of ESAF, as a venture of faith is that with nothing in our hands, with just that desire to serve God, serve people, serve God through serving people, with a desire, with a conviction that God has called us to raise a Christian voice amidst the various social problems that our country is facing. So we went forward in faith, and slowly God began to bless us. Some volunteers came up. Some young people who completed their graduation, they came and said, we would like to work with you. But we told them, sorry, we don't have any salary to give you. We don't have money to give you now. But they said, no problem. If you just give us food and shelter, that's enough. We will work for you. Thus, a group of volunteers joined us, and we began the work of ESAF in Kerala. We formulated a vision statement, a vision of ESAF, a just and fair society through sustainable, holistic transformation of the poor and the marginalized. We live in an unfair and unjust world, but our vision, which we have taken up, is that we dream a just and fair society by transformation of the poor and the marginalized, a sustainable, holistic transformation of the poor and the marginalized. So we did not claim, or we do not claim that everything, the society will be all fair and just because of ESAF, just because of our activity. But we can do something. We can do a part of it as one initiative among others. So this is how the vision of ESAF was formed. So we started with microenterprise development programs in 1995. That was actually with the support of EFICOR. As I said, Reverend C.B. Samuel, Rajan Samuel, and people like that gave us a lot of support. And they especially gave us opportunities for training, attending many training programs. So we could realize that helping people to develop their own initiatives, micro enterprises, that only will help people to alleviate poverty, to come out of the shackles of poverty. So we slowly started this initiative, but we found that when we encourage many people to start their own initiatives or small businesses so that their living conditions can be improved, they said the problem was that they did not have a capital. They did not have any money to invest because they were struggling to make their ends meet. So there was no question of investing money for a business. So if they approach the bank, what will the bank say? Bank will say that you need a collateral, you need to pledge something, you need to pledge gold, either, or you should pledge your house or land. But these poor people did not have anything. So a loan, getting a loan by pledging something, that was out of question. So we were just wondering what to do. How can we help people to have access to finance? These poor people who do not have anything to pledge. So at that time, we came in contact, or we realized about a concept called microfinance, and we realized that this concept of microfinance was developed by Professor Mohammed Yunus, a professor in economics professor in Dhaka University, and he experimented this microfinance, the concept of microfinance in Bangladesh, and found it successful. So slowly, this concept of microfinance was spreading to various countries, especially African countries, and even some of the North Indian states. It was getting, it was spreading. So we decided that we will go to the person directly and find out what is happening. So Brother Paul Thomas went to Bangladesh, met Professor Mohammed Yunus, and spent a few weeks with him, found out what he is doing, how the concept of microfinance is developing, and the organization which he initiated, Grameen Trust, which later on became the Grameen Bank. So that model, we studied that model, and we decided to replicate that in Kerala. So we pioneered microfinance in Kerala. We were the pioneers of microfinance in Kerala. Of course, after that, many private agencies and government agencies came, but it was ESAF that pioneered microfinance in Kerala. Microfinance, I hope that at least some of you know what it is, the concept that people who cannot afford to pledge anything to get a loan, they can form a group, a self-help group, and in this concept, this group can be given a loan by an agency. So a microfinance company can give a loan to this group, this self-help group. So one individual in the group will get a loan on the guarantee that the others in the group will also stand for them. So if there are 10 people, one person needs a loan, so the other 9 also will say, okay, this person can be given, and we give guarantee that he will that person will repay the loan. So that's the concept of microfinance. So peer guarantees, and through this we realize that this will really empower the people who are participating in it. So we decided to have launch this program, and it was first launched in Kerala, and because the basis of this was that our realization that access to finance is a key factor in economic development or poverty alleviation. So the first group, the first SHG, the first microfinance group was launched in Trichur, and we found it a successful model, and we started a few more SHGs when we faced a problem. We are ESAF was an NGO or a charitable society. ESAF had registered as a charitable society, and microfinance was a financial service or a financial business. So a charitable society is not supposed to do profit-making activities. So this definitely involved a profit, because we are giving loans and collecting it back, taking a small interest, because without that it cannot be sustained. So we realized that we need to find out a different model, and we recognize that already there is a system which government has put into place, that is non-banking finance company. So we decided to, apart from the charitable society, we launched a non-banking finance company, NBFC also, by name ESAF Microfinance and Investments Private Limited. So that barrier was gone. So we could spread the activities throughout the state of Kerala and slowly move to Tamil Nadu and to Maharashtra and to Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and various states in India. So presently we have 40 lakhs of poor households with whom we are having regular financial dealings, or we are servicing them, and spread out in 15 states of India. Okay, about 6 years back, so we were functioning as an NBFC on one side, and on the other side we have the charitable society. So 6 years back, there was a notification from the Reserve Bank of India that a new type of bank is going to be launched, that is small finance bank. So what is the speciality of small finance bank? There are various specialities, but two of the major specialities are 25% of the branches of a small finance bank should be in unbanked areas, that is places where there are no other banks, and 98% of the total number of loans should be below 35 lakhs. Okay, so we can understand what is the purpose of the government to launch this kind of a bank. Now, there are vast areas in India, villages, rural areas, there are absolutely no banks. So what happens? All the people who live there, if they need to have a banking service, they have to travel maybe kilometers and kilometers and reach the next town. So they are denied the privilege of having a bank in their vicinity, privilege of having a banking service. So the government's intention was that even in such places, banks should be there. And that is why small finance banks had this criteria, that the 25% of the branches should be in unbanked areas. And most of the banks are interested in big loans, giving maybe 1 crore, 10 crores. And because to big business houses or big people who spend a lot of money. But the majority of Indians need smaller loans. So as the other banks were more interested in big loans, the people who need small loans were ignored. And government wanted to cater to the needs of the people who wanted only small loans. So this type of bank, small finance bank, as the name implies, actually focuses on small finance. That is why it is called small finance bank. It is not the size of the bank, but the size of the finance that the bank gives. It gives small finance. That is catering to people who are on the lower side of the economic scale. Okay. Thus, ESAF Bank was inaugurated formally on 10th March 2017. That is exactly about 5 years back by the Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala in presence of the opposition leader. So this is our corporate office in Trichur, Mannati, Trichur. So our tagline is joy of banking now for everyone. Even for a poor person, joy of banking should be experienced. So within 5 years, we have started, or we have now 575 branches and 620 customer service centers. And we are in almost 23 states now, and 4,141 employees are there still till 30th of last month. I think it would have increased by now because we are adding branches and people almost every month. So I was just sharing about the financial services of ESAF. First, we had the charitable society, then we started the NBFC. NBFC graduated into a small finance bank, and that is catering to this many thousands of people in the country. So the microfinance activities done by the NBFC are now done by the bank. as a micro banking activity of the bank. So ESAF Bank does regular retail banking through its branches. At the same time, majority of its portfolio is in micro banking, that is giving small loans through the self-help groups, through the SNGs. So that is how ESAF Small Finance Bank is functioning. Now, this will not complete the story of ESAF, because ESAF started as a charitable society, and it had its own initiatives, it had its own programs and projects. So let me share about some of those projects. Among children, we have a project called Balajyoti. Now, this is being done with the support of the CSR support of ESAF Bank. Here we have clubs for children. Mostly these children are children of our SG members, people who are below poverty line. So they are given opportunities to develop their talents, to equip them in their studies, and also to provide a social dimension to their understanding and their growth. So we have presently 104 clubs. Presently we are in about 3 or 4 states in India, and we have 2,470 members, children. And also we have study centers or free tuition centers for children, poor children from the poor economic background. So we select a place and bring the people, the surrounding to that place. Mostly they are children of our SNG members and their friends also. So we appoint a teacher to take care of their educational needs. The children come there after their school time, and the teacher helps them in their homework. If they have any doubts, that is cleared. So the parents of these children, they do not have the financials or the economic status to send them for tuitions. But here is an opportunity for them also to come up in their studies, come up in their education side as a free tuition center. And also we encourage games and sports through this Balajyoti project. We enter into partnership with some of the schools or educational institutions and develop the play spaces there, and use this as an opportunity for the children in the surrounding area to come and play here. So we form teams. We, along with this game opportunity for games, we interact with them and give them the social values, their responsibilities, the personality development. All these things are also catered to while they come and play here. Regarding environment care, caring for God's creation, in the protection of environment, conservation of energy, water and sanitation, and organic farming, we have various projects. I'm not going into all the projects to cater to these ideas and needs. And one of the major things in this sector is clean energy program. That is, we promote products, lighting and other utensils which are, other equipments which run on solar energy. So as a result of this, dependence on conventional energy is now diminished, and people focus more on these products. So we give loans to, if anybody wants to buy a product like this, we give them a loan, and we promote the use of this kind of solar energy products. Another project is livable cities. This is making our cities livable. Presently, we have this project implemented in Nagpur, Bangalore, Guwahati, Thrissur, Malappuram, Kozhikode, and Thiruvananthapuram. The basic idea is development of inclusive public spaces. We know that many times people with disabilities, they are not able to access our public spaces, or children with disabilities, they cannot play in our parks because the play equipments installed there are put there with a healthy person in mind or a healthy child in mind. But suppose a child who has a disability, how can he play? How can she play? So our concentration is that our parks and maidans and such public places should be inclusive. People with children or elderly or with disabilities should be able to use them. And we promote healthy transportation. We know that cycling and walking are the most healthy means of transportation. So we try to develop infrastructure in partnership with the local governments to develop good footpaths for the roads, or cycling tracks in the roads and things like that. And also we promote urban agriculture. This is a park in Nagpur. Nagpur is supposed to be a very a city of parks, but most of the parks are unusable and unfunctional. So we made many of the parks functional, and we could make 2 of them inclusive, placing play equipments which can be used by children with disabilities also. With the help of UN Habitat, it's actually a division of United Nations, we could develop, or we could construct a ramp in one of the beaches in Kochi. So as a result, people using people using crutches, or disabled people who are not able to walk, they can use this ramp and reach near the sea. Children also can reach near the sea. So that's the advantage. And this is a park in Calicut where we have installed play equipments which can be used by children with disabilities also. In the health sector, we have a rural hospital in Palakkad with about 100 beds. Attached to it, we have a school of nursing recognized by Indian Nursing Council and Kerala Nursing Council, and 22 batches have already completed their course, and 90% of the students are from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OEC segments, and they are given free education with a support, a grant from the government for SCSTs. So 90% of the children, students are given free nursing education here. Regarding in health, we cooperate with various government programs for TB alleviation, TB control programs, anemia prevention, etc. Arogya Mitra is a project, health project, in which we train health volunteers in rural settings, and we train them, we deploy them in the villages, and they take BP, they measure blood glucose level, etc. in the villages. So these people, they can never go to a hospital. They don't never go to a hospital. Even if they have hypertension, they will never know that. Only if they have a cardiac arrest or something, they will realize that they had a hypertension or they had high diabetes. So these volunteers, they do the checking and inform them that you have this problem. You should immediately meet a doctor, and they encourage them to go to the town and meet the doctor. So this project we have basically going very well in Majuli Island in Assam. Majuli Island, you might know, is one of the largest inland islands in the world. That is surrounded by rivers. It's actually Brahmaputra River surrounds this big island. But they cannot come out of the island unless you use a boat. So they are sort of secluded there. So our health volunteers are working in this island. Actually, they don't have. Suppose somebody gets sick, here we immediately call for the ambulance. But in Majuli Island, they have actually we have provided this manual ambulance, this hand cart. So somebody is sick, the health volunteers there carry the patient to the river, and they take a boat from there and go to the town. Now, regarding livelihood interventions, which we initiated in Jharkhand about 15 years back. Jharkhand has a lot of artisans who involve in jute and bamboo craft, but they used to do only the conventional mango basket. They were making mango baskets, and they are getting around 40 rupees per day. But we actually initiated this project and taught them about the recent developments, or the how to make things which are saleable even in the cities. And slowly the income increased to from 40 rupees to 150 rupees per day. So quality of life was improved substantially, and migration is, because usually when they do not have a work, what do they do? They all migrate to the cities, and where they are very much exploited. So migration is arrested, and education of children is promoted, because children who go to the cities from their villages, they never get an opportunity first, because their parents will be traveling here and there. So the children never get an opportunity to study. Just a small story. Uh, actually, this person is a very talented artisan, uh, Subhakhan Ansda. He is actually from one of the tribal villages in Jharkhand, Jawadi tribal village. He was actually making his mango baskets, and just struggling to make his to take his life through. And he actually became a TB patient, and he was just struggling with a family to support. So we actually took him to a training center and gave him training in contemporary designs in bamboo craft. So as he was very talented, he learned it fast, and he started a small producer group of bamboo craftsmen in his own village and trained them in contemporary designs. With the marketing assistance from ESAF, he managed the group in production, and slowly he started many such groups, and he was elevated as a master trainer. He trained more than 10 such groups. So finally, Subhash Hansda received the Best Craftsman and Trainer Award from the Honorable Chief Minister of Jharkhand in 2011. From actually, when we met him, he had no hope of living even for an year, because he was in a very bad condition because of the TB, and he had no money to buy medicine and things like that. So his condition drastically changed because of this intervention. And he's actually he's a pastor. He's a pastor in that tribal church. And the children in Jharkhand, especially in the tribal villages, in a very deplorable condition. The little boys are taken to the stone quarries. You know that Jharkhand is a place where a lot of coal mines and stone quarries, and we find very sadly we find girls selling liquor on the wayside. So the children are being misused, and they lose their childhood even as children. So we realize that they are going in this way because they're not getting an opportunity for education. So we started a project called Let Them Smile to provide education for these children, a world-class culturally relevant education for the children of Santal Pargana. The humble beginning in 2010, in small thatched houses, we began this educational activity. Primary schools were started in 2010. So we teach them computer skills, reading, gardening, and presently we have 10 primary schools and 12 kindergartens in various tribal villages in Jharkhand. And recently we could complete the construction of a high school, Lakandi High School in Dumka district of Jharkhand. So the children who have completed their primary school education, they can come here and study. Here we provide hostel facilities also for boys and girls. And also we have Institute of Multiple Skills in Dumka, where we train these Adivasi children in various trades, 6 months courses, 2 years courses, etc. Now, let me come to the conclusion. I told you that ESAF started as a charitable society in 1992. Now, over a period of time, when various needs arose, I told you about the NBFC was started, and then small finance bank was started, and various companies were started to meet various needs. Presently, we have 15 private limited companies, including the small finance bank, 15 private limited companies, 5 trusts and federations, and 3 producer companies and cooperatives, and 4 gratuity trusts, and 3 non-profit entities. Altogether, it will come to 30. So within 30 years of our existence, God blessed us to start 30 different entities, and we give all the glory to God. I told you that ESAF is a venture of faith, and when we started in 1992, we started in that small room in the rented house of Brother Paul Thomas with a table and chair. But we had trust in a big God, a great God who gave us a great vision, and who gave us a great faith to trust in Him. God has honored our faith, and He has helped us to initiate so many initiatives various times. And actually, the guidance and the motivation and the opportunities came from various people. God used various people in various agencies, as I told you about EFICOR and Grameen Trust and various other agencies and organizations. They all helped us because all these connections came as a provision of God, and we could launch out into various initiatives, and God has enabled us in His grace to touch the lives of millions of people in our country. And we give all glory to God, and may His name be honored through our activities. And ESAF Bank is now in a very growing stage. We are just, as you know, as I told you, we are just 5 years old. So we are growing in a fast pace and opening branches almost 2-3 branches almost every week. We are opening branches and taking people. So we need dedicated people to work in the bank. So definitely people with graduation and who can work in the field. So when you think of bank job, don't think of sitting in the AC room, because our banking work is mainly in the field. You have to go to the field, you have to meet people, you have to promote our products, and that is the kind of works. But through all these activities, we are touching the lives of people by providing opportunities for savings, opportunities for taking loans, opportunities for insurance, and various other banking products. So this is what ESAF is all about. And thank you very much for this opportunity to share the story of ESAF. Thank you very much.